All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our podcast. It's been a while. We've all had things going on in our life, and we've been super busy. So I hate that we haven't had one on. Appreciate all the people from around the world, if it's true, that from South Africa to Australia, Germany, that have been listening to our podcast. We really appreciate it. As the rest of our group joins us here, just want to have a little talk with some of them. Ryan, how's everything been?
It's been. Can't complain too much, I suppose.
Well, that's good. Holiday seasons are coming up. Got Thanksgiving in less than a week.
Super
Christmas,
fun.
Christmas in a month. With my teaching and stuff, I'll have 3 weeks. And it seems like those 3 weeks just like go by so quick. And then it's already, because we get out December 17th. So I feel like it's going to be super quick. So how's it, like, does that affect you any with your life?
I guess, a little bit. We got a lot of stuff going on here, but also at the same time, we're flexible. So
yeah,
we don't have just like, no matter what we have to do, it's at least manageable for now.
Yeah, I got it. Well, as the rest of our crew is coming on, go ahead and let all the listeners know what we plan on doing. So far, what's happened is Marvel Universe is taking off. Disney Plus is going, just mentioning like everything that's coming out, all these little spin-offs to origin stories, things like that. So before we get into that, I really want to tackle I didn't mean that to happen. I really want to tackle the NFL and what's going on there. First off, my thing is, what is y'all's overall analysis of going in the NFL? Like trades going on, Von Miller went to the Rams, Odell Beckham went to the Rams, former running back Zach Stacy punched and body slammed his girlfriend with his kid in there in the room. So like, what is all y'all's analysis? Ryan, what is your take on the NFL right now?
Well, I guess the NFL in and of itself is somewhat fun. Like not talking about the off-field issues, everything that feels par for the course. But other than that, it's kind of interesting to see what's going on. As a Broncos fan, I didn't expect them to trade away Von Miller.
Yeah, that was a big surprise to me.
As someone who watches, tries to keep up with every team for the most part, Odell Beckham leaving to go to the Rams, that was like, I was not shocked by that at all. He saw the team that you would think has the best chance to win it all, which I still give them the best chance to win it all. They've had 2 horrible games, but at the same time, it's, you're in a 17-game season. Some of these games that they lose, I think it's more, it's more expected than anything else. Although you don't want to lose a conference game.
Yeah.
So when they lost to
49ers,
Luke's asking if he's frozen. But when they lost to the 49ers, I was like, well, that's something else. Although I don't understand how you're not going to sit there, coming from a purely football mind. I don't understand if you got a team that's not going to, sit there and throw the ball all that much because they have like a decent run game and not a great passing game.
Well, see,
why
like the 49ers,
on earth would you not prepare for the run game?
Well, like the 49ers game, I was kind of like, this is how the 49ers defense should be, as aggressive, and like it seemed like everything clicked for the one night. And so I really wasn't too surprised about it, but I don't know.
No, I was surprised by the Rams defense.
Well, yeah.
You'd almost think that they came out not prepared for the 49ers to run the ball at all. And they didn't look like it. I mean, they took up the 49ers took up almost the whole first quarter just running the ball down the field. And it's like, really? You guys don't know how to stop the run?
Yeah. And it's weird because that seems like that's usually the 49ers go-to thing on first quarter things is get the run game going, and go from there and try to start incorporating Kittle and, Deebo Samuel and all of them. But so David, what is your take on it?
I'm shocked.
Shocked by the NFL or shocked by what?
About the Zach Stacy thing.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, to be honest, it is a common occurrence with a lot of athletes and people.
He didn't even just hit her. He picked her up and slammed her into one of those little bouncy toys that the babies jump in.
And the TV.
TV fell on her.
Want to see. My brother showed me the video, and I didn't want to see it.
Well,
usually those types of.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, after he slammed her down to the ground, as he walked out the door,
he said, "I love you, boo."
I thought I heard.
Yeah, I heard
boo.
it. I'm like, oh man, that's not something you want to say.
I'm like,
but that's an occurring.
Is that like that weird definition of tough love? Like,
I mean,
that's beyond.
That's what an abuser does.
That's beyond tough love. That's like, I am in control. I have power over you.
Well, like I never, she never sounded like she was crying. She kind of never really got knocked out or like unconscious, or dizzy. So it makes me think that this is not the first time.
No,
like
and the cameras were positioned so like weird. If this was the first time, you wouldn't have positioned the cameras the way they were.
I'm kind of wondering if it was like an in-home.
Probably happened numerous times. It just wasn't documented.
Well, I was just kind of wondering if it was like an in-home security thing,
Probably not.
But
I mean, I don't know.
The thing is, she didn't sound startled. Like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah, but you have to also think, there is a baby. So, if you're, losing control.
Well, I thought the baby was in the little bouncy thing at first. And when he slammed her down on that, I was like, he just slammed her on the baby. But then I realized that was like the little cushion of the seat that was pushed up where it looked like the baby was in there. So,
yeah, but like, I don't know. I felt uncomfortable because I've seen stuff that's happened in my personal life that, like, my mom was a victim of that. And so, it kind of brings old memories. And so, like, I don't like particularly want to like talk about it or, see it or see the videos of the abuse, because it's like, man, if that was, my mom, man, that dude would not be standing.
Yeah.
So I tend to refrain from looking at that stuff because it is a very violent subject, and it is very. There's sometimes there's women that are the abusers, but they're rare cases. But it's mostly men. So like we don't know what they were arguing about, what all went wrong, but just the sheer brutal violence that he did was enough to make me kind of feel like, oh, I'm sick.
Yeah. So
that's my take on it. But they caught him, so that's good.
Yeah.
But overall in the NFL, the whole like the vaccines and the protocols. I mean, there's a story right now about Antonio Brown about the fake vaccine card.
I don't believe that.
What? The fake card?
Yeah, I don't know why. I just really don't believe that. Now, I want to say this. Remember what I said? You remember what I said a couple of podcasts ago about Aaron Rodgers? Telling you, it's the sabotaging process. That was my first thought. I was like, yeah, of course he would have done that. Like it just makes perfect sense. He might honestly be vaccinated. He really might honestly be vaccinated, but was like, you know what? I'm gonna tell everyone that I was not vaccinated on purpose.
As long as he plays, I think I'm good because he's on my fantasy team and I need him in the game on Sunday.
It's a sabotaging process. You don't need anyone else to play this week.
Well, I'm
you want
just
to talk
gonna
about fantasy teams real quick?
no.
I gotta tell you, I'm not joking. And go look at my run of luck this year. Every time, like I have great players on my team, except my quarterbacks, but I have great players on my team, and they all underperform almost every single week. I had a team play the Jets. I forgot who it was. I had a team play the Jets, and it was like after I looked back at the scores, I was like, well, that makes perfect sense. Like the week before, I played Kelsey, and she had a player that like got 50 points or something like that just playing the Jets. Then I'm like, great, that's going to happen to me the next week. Nothing. It was almost like they were non-existent versus the Jets. I think it was the Bills. And like last night, I watched after the game was with, I went and checked the thing, and I was like, yeah, it's par for the course for me at this point that the New England Patriots would put up 50 points on defense alone.
But here's
It
the
was
thing.
only 49.
Oh, yeah,
here's
my
the
bad.
thing.
Only 49. I'm
Matt
surprised they didn't get
Ryan-
adjusted to 50.
Matt Ryan threw 2 picks. They put in Josh Rosen. He throws a pick 6, and then they put in the backup for that, and he throws a pick.
Yeah.
It was very helpful. I'm just gonna say
that team is so bad. Good night. That team is bad.
It's not that they were great, but it seems like as soon as they lost Calvin Ridley, like your best offense is Cordell Patterson. But
yeah.
So all right, so let's go into this.
Let me throw this in too, though.
Or Luke.
So you're talking about the Bills playing, right? So in fantasy. So last week I got rid of Devin Singletary because for a team that's doing so well offensively, he's just not performing. He's just not. Like I've watched him week after week, and they keep giving him double-digit predictions, and he can't make it into the double digits. Like I think his best week one time was like 8 or 9 points. He got close, but he just can't do it. So I dropped him, right? So the guy I'm playing, Denon, he picks him up because he's got Josh Allen, so he's got the pass covered. And if the run takes off, then he's got Devin Singletary now, which is great for him. But what does he do? His quarterback throws the ball the whole game. And who does he hit? Stephon Diggs, which I have at receiver. So it ended up being a great week because I finally had, it seemed like a stroke of luck. Ryan, I know you're talking about your luck tanking, but as far as like injury prone, that's been my team all week. Like I finally got some people I felt like were solid, and then it just turns out that they can't stay healthy. So I've got George Kittle who keeps going in and out, and when he's in, he's in.
Oh yeah.
But he doesn't stay in. He gets taken out every other game, it seems like. Or Antonio Brown, right? Supposed to be, he's finally down there with Tom Brady, a quarterback who's going to throw the mess out of the ball. But he can't stay healthy long enough to catch more than a couple. He catches a game or two, and then he's done again. So it's been kind of a crapshoot. So luckily, I strung together, I think, 2 games in a row where I've won, and hoping to make it a third. I know you're not. Yeah, I'm hoping you're hoping to break the streak because we played. But let me also say this: the one game that I was really counting on, we can both celebrate, is that the Broncos beat the Cowboys.
Oh yeah, we played our Super Bowl.
They didn't just beat them.
They made an example of them.
I don't know what it is about the Broncos playing the Cowboys, but they play their best game against the Cowboys every year. Or every time they play, they'll sit there and it's like they haven't played them all that much, but the Cowboys have not beat them in the last 5 times they've played each other.
When the Cowboys are doing great this year, I mean, they're 6-2. So it's not like, that was a fluke game or that was an accident. Like they beat a good Cowboys team, which I know most of us aren't using to stringing those 2 words together in the same sentence.
Yeah. So talking about being good. What about the Chiefs? So before we move on from that, do we think that a couple things for y'all to think about when we can talk over this? Have people followed in what Tampa Bay did in the Super Bowl of how to play the two safeties back, which I've been seeing it more often, to cover the deep threats of Tyreek Hill and just let, Travis Kelce be the star and that's it? Or is Patrick Mahomes trying to do a little too much? Or is Andy Reid just like kind of like a glorified offensive coordinator and he's really not as great as we thought? Or is it kind of a little bit of everything? Like, what do we think there?
I think it's Andy Reid's inability to adjust his game plan. And I think
defenses?
I think Patrick Mahomes is in his own head. They're about to find out. Like, let's see. Okay, so the Chiefs' last 3 games
Their defense has
were
been pretty
against
good.
the Giants, who's not good.
Yeah.
Realistically, a broken I almost said 49ers, but I don't think 49ers. A broken Packers team who was missing Aaron Rodgers. And Jordan Love's very first start, I think, in NFL football.
Yeah.
And then, yes, they looked dominant against the Raiders, but let's be real.
What have they
There
been
was going to
recently?
be a point where the wheels are finally going to fall off the Raiders because they've just been through too much this season.
Well, let's think about this.
Just keep going.
Their tight end got 18 passes thrown to him in the very first game. And probably in the last 7 games, he's had 18 passes thrown to him. Like, that's a little bit far-fetched. It's probably a little bit more, but he hasn't gotten those numbers. Josh Jacobs is in or out, the whole John Gruden crap, because Derek Carr went from leading the league in yards and all that stuff, and now it's been passed by a couple people.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I just knew, like, at some point or another, the wheels were going to finally fall off and their confidence was going to drop. And then you got John Gruden, Henry Ruggs, and there's that other guy who got kicked from the team. Like, it's just, there's got to be, like, such low morale right now.
The Chiefs went from being dead last to now they're first in 2 weeks.
That's so annoying.
Because the Chargers are slowly falling apart after looking great. The Raiders have dropped. And then the Broncos have just been kind of in the middle. They can't gain or they don't drop.
But they're about to have their realist test in a while because you have all 3 of those teams, like I said, that are just not doing great. And now they're about to play the Cowboys. They're going to play the Cowboys at home, so that might go in their advantage, but they're about to play the Cowboys. And the Cowboys offense it's good. Like, it's probably, one of the best offenses in the league, and their defense is good enough. So, I think they're about to face their realist test for the past 4 games. So we're going to see if Patrick Mahomes is living up to it because they're going to blitz him and they're going to,
But here's my thing. Well, you say that, but now he is the less blitzed quarterback in the league because his passer rating being blitzed every single year he's been in the league, he has a great passer rating because he is so quick to roll out a pocket or make those passes. And now people are not blitzing him as much. They said the other night, he is so less blitzed. And now it's thinking, is that the thing? Keeping more people back in coverage?
Maybe. But I mean, they're going to, this defense is going to be the best defense they've probably faced outright. And that's not taken away from the Giants defense. It's an okay defense, but I think the Cowboys defense would be the best defense.
Well, I know that the defense for the Chiefs were giving up like 30 points per game in those first 5 or 6 games. And now the last couple games are down to 19, which isn't great, but
yeah. And it's going to be, if their run defense is still not good, I mean, you got a 1-2 punch with Pollock and Elliott. And that's the thing. That's what's good about the Cowboys defense is they can hit you from just about anywhere. They can run the ball on you. They can, they can hit mid passes on you and they can hit deep shots on you.
So
I mean, I know they played the Falcons, but man, they picked the Falcons apart.
yeah. So Luke, talking about the fantasy part of it, like we don't have to get into that, but like people like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, who you're just like, well, you got to start them because they're going to give me 20 points. Like they're not even performing. So like, what are your thoughts on it?
On which one? Sorry.
On the Chiefs, just in general. Like all they're three big players, are guaranteed point getters, and Patrick Mahomes can't throw anything. Travis Kelce, one night I saw him drop.
Yeah, he
4
dropped
passes.
like 4 passes or something like that. But
and then Tyreek Hill can't catch but 3-yard passes.
Here's the thing with Travis Kelce. Like I know they kind of shut down the deep ball on Mahomes, but Travis Kelce was never the deep ball guy anyway. He's a tight
he'd be
end.
like over the middle.
So he's going to be he's going to be catching short passes and then making something out of it, which works great for me because even if he's not putting up the numbers like he did last year or the year before that, he's still a top 2 tight end in the league because if you take away the deep pass, where's Mahomes going to throw it? Over the middle, right? So that opens up Travis Kelce. Plus Travis Kelce just a phenomenal player anyway. Like he understands his position. He's a lot like Jason Witten. Like if you try to guard him one way, he's just going to go the other. So he still gets hit a lot. So I've seen a dip in Travis Kelce's numbers this year, but it's not so much that I don't still put him in every week. He still stays there. But and who else are you going to put in? Like with quarterbacks, you've got a crap ton of quarterbacks to choose from. Everybody in our league drafts like 2 or 3, but when it comes to tight ends, you've got 5 or 6 maybe that are going to put up consistent numbers.
Yeah.
And so even if he's not doing as good as he did a couple of years ago, he's still one of the better ones in the league.
So in 10 games, he's almost averaging about how many yards he gets on every catch. He's got 5 touchdowns, which his best year was last year with 11. So he's on pace for
halfway
that.
there, yeah.
And like I said, we're a little bit halfway. So his yardage per game is down. But like in his last 4 games, he's hit 100 yards twice. 5 games ago, he hit 99 yards. Until then, he had not gotten over 6 in his first 5 games. He went over 100 once, and his next highest game was 76. But he went from catching 6, 7, 8 balls a game to 4 twice.
Yeah.
Which one of them was the Giants game. He caught 4 for 27, and that was the one he had all the passes dropped.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've looked at my phone a couple of times and saw the score and been like, dang it, Travis Kelce, come on.
Yeah.
Like he's got to do something. But I don't, in a league like ours where, you get so many people, like who else are you going to pick? Because either he sits in my tight end position on my roster. So I can't put George Kittle in because he's out. He's on injured reserve, or he was at the time. So I've got to leave, I've got to kind of roll it out. And I took a few losses, and it's not just Travis Kelce. But going back to the whole where are the Chiefs at, I think, I've been watching football since I was in first grade. So 91. I know that makes me sound super old.
Mhm.
So in 30 years of watching pro football, I can count on one hand the number of teams that I've seen be a dynasty for multiple seasons. The Cowboys with Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith, that was a dynasty. And you could expect them to come out and be competitive every year for a while. And then they started getting a whole bunch of new people, and Troy Aikman retired, and so did Emmitt Smith, and it just kind of went down from there. But I think it's just the NFL, the way it's run, like the way players don't stick with a team. Like with Giannis, the Greek freak, he builds a team. He says, I'm staying here.
So you're saying loyalty is the main reason why most dynasties are.
They don't last because you come out and you play with that team and you guys do great for a season, and then everybody's like, oh, well, that player's great, we got to get him. And so they'll trade that player. Well, when you start trading every player at every position, boom, you gave away your whole team. And I mean, it's not necessarily that team's fault. Maybe they can't hold them. Maybe their salary cap doesn't let them, or they can't offer as much to that player as another team can who doesn't have it. And so, yeah, they're still a dynamite linebacker, but now they don't have safeties backing them up, and corners also there, and a defensive line that's a monster. So that defense is gone. You've still got one player who's great, like the Broncos with Peyton Manning, right? Von Miller wins MVP. And then his defense left. All the other players were gone, and it was just Von Miller the next year. Well, it's like a good running back. You don't have a good running back if you don't have a good offensive line. He can't do it by himself. So I think that's kind of why, the Chiefs and they win a Super Bowl, or they get put in a Super Bowl, and then they start getting pulled apart by every other team in the NFL looking to fill a position.
And see, and that's an issue I have, because I think about, I understand it's a business, and as an owner and stuff like that, you still want to win.
Right.
But like the Adrian Petersons that were with the Vikings forever, it's like, man, give the man his due. Like now he's bouncing around from team to team. Von Miller, I know he's had some injuries and stuff like that, but he came as a Bronco, let him finish as a Bronco. Like I understand the whole sign the one-day contract so you can retire as a 49er or retire as a Bronco. And I get that, but like Von Miller's still pretty good. And I don't know, I'm just like, let's just keep the person here. Now, if they're just like, no, I think I've got more in me, you're not going to play me 60% of the snaps, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this 2 running back system. No, I want to be the main receiver. No, I want to be the main cornerback. I get it. Then you can say, well, that's not our game plan now. We really need to fit to what we have and draft some people here. Aaron Rodgers, was he kind of blindsided by the Jordan Love thing? Yeah, but you got to think, Aaron, you're in your upper 30s. Not everybody's going to play into their 70s like Tom Brady. So we've got to start.
Favre.
We got to start planning. And if you're going to be the next Brett Favre and say, no, I quit. Oh, season's next week. Oh, no, I'm going to play. Oh, I'm going to retire. Oh, season's tomorrow. Oh, okay, guys, fly down to Mississippi and come get me, and go like they don't want to play that game again either, But sometimes just like, just sign them to a contract. Just say, listen, you're not getting your 1,000-yard seasons anymore. Your speeds went from a 4.4 down to a 4.8. I think you're just looking old. And that's what happens, because Derrick Henry is going to be crap in a few years, because those running backs, if they make them run 30 times a game, like Adrian Peterson, don't make it. LaDainian Tomlinson should have shattered the rushing record. But the thing is, he got abused in San Diego. So he went downhill. Like Frank Gore, as many yards as he had, he's played for a while, but Frank Gore wasn't used as much in San Francisco.
And you see the thing that's happening in Carolina with Christian McCaffrey, the injuries right now.
Well, that's just because he's an all-around workhorse. Like, he's going to catch the ball and run the ball.
Because that's the thing. He's being
he's being run like every snap. So, and then now you have Cam Newton back, and he's supposed to start.
No, don't give me that. Don't give me that on Cam Newton. We ain't talking about him.
No, I'm not. I can care less. But I'm just saying, like, you can only run so much, and then start wearing down when you get like some of these players like Luke Kuechly retired at 28 years old. He wasn't fast anymore.
Patrick Willis with the 49ers, 30 years old. Megatron, 30 years old. Some of them, like, there's some. Now I understand the league is different. You can't even breathe on a quarterback's head as you walk past them. It's not roughing the passer. But back in the day, when you had the Terry Bradshaws, the Jim McMahons, all those guys, that the quarterbacks, they were as tough as any linebacker out there. They, they're talking about how many like memory issues they have, and body aches and knee injuries and stuff like that they're having now because how long they played. But now there's so much medicine, there's so much advanced stuff. Like, that's why Tom Brady still looks like he's in his prime, because he's able to take care of himself. That's why LeBron James is, playing into his upper 30s with as many miles as he's put on his wheels. But But Tom Brady's also been staying healthy. He's missed like one full season because of that knee injury.
Well,
But
and that kind of goes back to what I was talking about with Tom Brady too. Like you don't just have a good quarterback. Like they always, whoever he's playing for, drafts a solid offensive line that protects him in the pocket. They actually keep a pocket. The amount of times that Tom Brady has been sacked or hurried is probably far less than most quarterbacks. And that's why he's lasted as long as he has. That or he's made out of something else. He's made out of titanium or something. Something that doesn't corrode. Hate the guy.
So Ryan, predictions, where we're at right now. 9-10 games into the season. They've got some teams have 7 more since they're doing the 17-game season. What do you think? Do you think which teams on top you think will collapse? Which teams do you think are on bottom could make the run? And that's either run for the rest of the season, run to the Super Bowl, run to just make the playoffs, whatever.
I think teams that will probably come close to collapsing that might have the best shot of winning it all, or not winning it all, but at least going to it all. I am not sold on the Ravens.
Okay.
For one, I just don't, they have way too many come from behind wins, which good on them for winning, but
kind of the luck runs out kind of thing.
And I'm not so sold on them. I also wonder about the Cardinals. I think they could actually still make a run for it, but with their issues that they've had, I wonder if they're primed for collapse as well. AFC, I don't know. The AFC to me is such a toss up.
So
every week it feels like there's someone else at the top of the AFC.
Well, usually there's still, which there is, 2, but usually it seems like at this time there's still like a lot of 1 and 2 loss teams.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that there is. Like the Bills, I think the Bills are still pretty good, but they look like they've taken a step back from last year.
It does look like it.
I kind of feel like the Patriots have pushed it. Have they pushed it a little too early and they're going to fizzle out? I don't know. I really think maybe the Chargers just don't have it. I think the Chiefs still have that chance until somebody can knock them off. I still consider them a powerhouse. I thought Bengals were going to hang up there, but I don't know. Ravens. Yeah, I just don't know about them. The Titans, they look pretty good, but I think they're going to want too much of Tannehill without having Derrick Henry and not be the same. Cardinals, I don't know how they're going to do without J.J. Watt and that pass rush now, but they're legit. I think the Rams could still push them. My surprise overall, I really think if they can get a couple people back on defense, I think the 49ers could make a run. They're only 4-5. They could finish potentially 12-5, but I think they can make a run. But I don't know. I feel like the NFC is going to win it this year. I just feel like there's too many teams in the NFC from either the Bucks, the Packs, Cardinals, or Rams, even I'd say it Cowboys that could.
Everyone's been saying that they
taste
feel
bad
like
coming out.
I wouldn't blame it if it did.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Cowboys tasted bad when you said that. Yeah.
But everyone said, well, at least so many people have said, and I agree with this, that the Super Bowl, the NFC team that they feel like is most likely is going to be in the Super Bowl is in the NFC West. So it's going to be the Cardinals, the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks. I'm still predicting the Rams to be in it at the end of the day. And I don't know on the other side. Like I really don't know on the other side.
Well, let me stop you there. So we had the Legion of Boom several years ago. And, some of those guys started saying, where's my money? Where's my money? Some of them got their money. Some of them jumped ship because they were like, no, we're giving all the money to Russell Wilson. He's the main guy. Now, is Russell Wilson good? Yes, he's good. But he went from last year, everybody like, oh, he's MVP, to playing crap the last 8 games. This year, I know he's been injured, but it's not like they were undefeated or anything before he got injured. Because how many games has he missed? What, 3, 4?
Who?
I have
Seahawks.
no idea.
I mean, he missed like 3 weeks.
Okay,
3
so
Their
Did
current
they win-
record is 3-6.
did they win any of those games?
Their current record's 3-6, so I don't think so.
Okay, so that means they were still 3-3 with him, and they lost this past weekend. So they were probably 3-2. 3-2. And I understand that's early in the season, but they just didn't look as good as a 3-2 team. So Luke, what's your projections or
Okay.
predictions?
So I don't know. I'm kind of building on our previous thing. I don't really see Kansas City. They look to me like they're a little too unsteady. So you can't count them out, but you can't count on them either.
Yeah.
So Kansas City for me is out. I think Buffalo, or maybe it's just I hope Buffalo.
Yeah.
Because man, that team, when they fire and they're on all cylinders, they're good to go. But they struggle a little bit. New England's got a better record. Well, sort of. They played a couple more games, but
Yeah, they're like that weird.
for me, New England, I'm not predicting them, but I would go with Buffalo. And like you said, Baltimore to me is just too inconsistent. You never know what you're going to get that weekend. But Tennessee's playing great right now. Will they make a final run? I don't know. I don't know if it'll last long enough to get
I
them
just
to
feel
the
like their
playoffs
running
and
game
through the playoffs.
with Derrick Henry gone. I
Yeah.
just think that
He's
Tannehill's
kind of been their workhorse right now, and they just don't have a whole lot of other package options
they
to
don't
kind of
because
get him
they
around.
have Adrian
him.
Peterson, and that's it.
And he's 90. He's older
Yeah.
than Brett Favre. Dallas, they're playing good right now.
We just need one of us to say that we think they could be contenders. That's
Okay, good, because it ain't going to be me.
Nobody else say it.
I think their fuse is already lit, and I think they're going to implode. They're just going to blow up. Just it's gone later.
Maybe they'll have another the
but
catch.
I like what Ryan said. The NFC has just got so like, how do you count anybody out? But mostly, I think Green Bay is going to get it sorted out. They're doing great because Devontae Adams, my receiver for my fantasy team, I can count on him to get points every week. He does something amazing. So, but then Arizona, that's going to be my 2 predictions. It's either going to be Arizona or Green Bay in the NFC because Dallas is going to destroy it. They're like Arkansas. Everybody cheers for them, and we hope they win. And then later on, they just can't hang on. They can't make that final. They're like me at ping pong. They just can't close it out.
Something
Play-
dumb happens.
Oh, I can get up to like a 20-5 lead in ping pong, and then I can't close the last point. Somebody always comes back and wins.
Yeah,
Now I want to play ping pong.
that's what I'm saying.
I
Just something
don't
dumb
because
happens.
it'll
It's just
tick
kinda
me
like,
off. But yeah,
That's
they'll
been
do
like-
something like that.
That's been Arkansas's problem this year. Is they've been depth.
I'm gonna say Buffalo.
I like Buffalo.
And as much as I love Denver,
You've never been to Buffalo.
they're half and half. They might make a wild card team.
I feel like it's. I feel like it's Buffalo's to lose, but I feel like Buffalo's in the best
They're-
chance position
yeah.
as long as everyone stays healthy.
They've got a good start. We'll just say it that way.
David,
Yeah.
what you think?
I mean, I agree.
What do you mean agree? We have 3 different things going on. I can agree with all
No,
3.
I agree with Luke. I think Buffalo.
Oh,
and
there
then,
we go. Now
They're
you're
also,
I'm
I'll just throw
biased
this out there
because
too.
I'm biased because it's my team.
Oh, here we go.
Don't. You can't. I'm telling you,
Buffalo
man.
is your team?
No, Green Bay.
I thought he was switching
Here we
teams.
go.
No.
David, I'm telling
Me,
you,
I'm biased.
I thought
This is
maybe
the
he'd
Aaron
learn
My,
from
Rodgers-
his
my team's
mistakes.
been playing good.
Wake me up, guys. All right.
this is the Aaron Rodgers sabotage year.
No.
That was
That whole
last year.
COVID, that whole COVID thing, that was just part of the plan.
I will say this for Buffalo right now. They're 3-0 in conference play. So, if it comes down to their conference record, they're showing up at the right times.
All right.
I don't
We
know
done?
about like the rest
We
of
done?
the AFC.
David, you already make your prediction?
Yeah, he said Green Bay.
Oh,
Green
crap.
Bay.
Here we go again. Yeah, bless it, David. All right, David. So why do you think Green Bay?
Because we play better. I mean, defensively, we haven't been the best.
Well, I'm trying to. When is the
except
last
for
time
when
Green
we
Bay's
played
been known for their defense?
Yeah, so
1996.
David, do you remember that year?
no, I wasn't born that year.
1996 is the last time they won the Super Bowl before the 2000s.
That's, I mean,
It was my 6th grade year. I don't remember. I think they played the Rams, maybe. I don't remember who they played.
Broncos.
No, that was 97.
No, that was Patriots that they beat them.
Patriots. And this kind of went back to the whole dynasty thing. Like they were supposed to be the heavy favorites coming into this young wild card Broncos team. And I was like, no, Broncos are going to smoke them. And sure enough, they did. And I've been a Broncos fan ever since.
speaking of the Green Bay Packers, this is random. I've been thinking about this for quite a while, and it's just kind of neat about that team. If I'm correct, which I'm fairly certain I'm correct, they're the only team currently that has
David
had a
Chesler?
franchise quarterback over the past almost 40 years. They've only had 2 franchise quarterbacks over the past 40 years. I think that's neat.
That's because
Yeah.
they've only had 2 quarterbacks over the last 40 years.
Yeah, that's true. But I just think that's
Brett Favre.
I think
Well,
that's
and then
I've been thinking that's
Rodgers.
so neat that they've actually managed to keep like that. Now it's horrible that they have just completely crashed and burned, because like that right there should indicate a dynasty, but it's not, because it's like they'll do
Because
bad or they'll
Aaron
get right
Rodgers is
there
like
to the
a
edge.
7-Eleven. He never closes.
That's so true.
Well, let's look at this. So what would we say? Aaron Rodgers probably 04, 03 probably when he started. But since 92, they have had several double-digit times, but they went 9-7 several years with Brett Favre, 8-8 one time, 4-12, 8-8, 6-10, went 15-1, and still didn't even win the Super. That was the year after they won the Super. They went 15-1, but they
Yeah,
were
that was the
10-6
Broncos
when
year.
they won. One year with Aaron Rodgers, they were 8-7-1. They've also been 7-9 with Aaron Rodgers and 6-9-1. Now they've had a coaching change since that 6-9-1, and they've went 13-3 the last 2 years. But sometimes you see people like Aaron Rodgers still played pretty decent. And Brett Favre, who's a gunslinger.
Yeah, he either was a hero or a zero.
So it's not like he ever threw like more interceptions than touchdowns, but it's like there's always a chance for them. Because like the winning seasons that they went to the Super Bowl, they went 13-3 both those seasons. The year before they won Super Bowl, they were 11-5. And then the year after that, they went 11-5 and then kind of went down. And then Brett Favre actually went to the Vikings and had the best career statistics ever. So it's just kind of crazy, like how Ryan's talking about, but it's not like they've always been first. Like the Patriots have always had a winning record and they've been known they're probably going to go back to Super Bowl. And that's not what you've thought about for the Packers. They've been good. And a lot of times I considered Aaron Rodgers possibly the best quarterback, if not having the best offensive line, because I remember there's numerous games he's just standing there bouncing in the pocket, just bouncing there. Nobody, he's not moving. He's not moving. He he's checking down every single one of his receivers, like, well, nope, let me go back through them again. And then he looks over in the stands like, Coach, who do I throw to? I can't figure it out. Like, he had so much time.
If he could win 2 more Super Bowls before he retires, which I don't think is possible, I think he deserves to be at the top of that conversation.
As best quarterback,
as the best quarterback, or not, maybe not as the best, but like, a top 5 best. But until he can, and I get that, we can argue Dan Marino, but I just think like if he can win a Super Bowl or at least 2 more Super Bowls, and not as a game manager, but like actually be one of the sole reasons why they win that game, then I think he's definitely at the top of that conversation.
I'm really surprised he hasn't now. I think back in 2014, he had that bum ankle that he played against the Seahawks and barely lost to the Seahawks. I felt like if he had a healthy ankle and was able to move and run out of the pocket successfully, I think they would win that game.
I think, honestly, if he had gone to the Broncos this year, I think the Broncos would be, right there in contention. Because I think most of the Broncos' problems honestly come down to the quarterback play. And I realize, we've had some, bad games where it looks like our defense is the reason, but when your offense can't produce at all, it's just going to drive everyone else down.
Yeah.
Because there's too much talent on that defense for it to be as bad as it seems. And I'm also not taking away Vic Fangio. I don't think he's the answer for anything. I don't think any of the coaches are the answer for anything. I think there needs to be someone who's a smart offensive mind to come in to fix our offense. But for some reason, the past 2 coaches have been defensive guys. So.
All right, guys, let's stop right there with our football and move into the main thing. I hope everybody is. Let me go ahead and ask: has everybody seen the new Spider-Man trailer?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm all caught up on everything Marvel.
All right, so I'm going to give my rundown of it. I know Ron and I had a conversation a couple of nights ago when it first came out. So obviously, like every trailer that's ever made, there's bits and pieces of the movie, like somebody talks and somebody responds, but those happen like 30 minutes apart in the movie. That's never how it happened. Like in Infinity War, they show one of the things in the trailer with every single Marvel character running in the little jungle in Wakanda, including Hulk. But as we know, Hulk never appeared in the movie, except at the very beginning. But he was never at the Battle of Wakanda. And that scene never happened. So there's, a couple scenes I kind of watched, and then a couple things that caught my eye that I had to go back and pause and look at things. So my take on it, I'm curious. One thing that I saw was Doc Ock's robotic arms. One part, they're red. They kind of look like Tony Stark's armor red. And I'm curious if maybe, Peter Parker having some nanotech maybe helps Doc Ock, maybe. Or maybe somehow when that one little scene he has him pinned up against the brick walls, some of the nanotech goes into him or something, with Doc Ock being a little scientist himself. But when Doc Ock is captured by them, he doesn't seem like angry. He doesn't seem like a true bad guy being locked up. He seems like he's wanting to kind of help. But some other things I noticed in the trailer, it shows, Spider-Man jumping towards Sandman, Lizard, and Electro. Well, Spider-Man's jumping, but Lizard's also jumping, but not jumping towards Spider-Man. So it makes me think that there's somebody else that has been photoshopped out. And then the last like half second of the video, Lizard gets knocked off course. Like he hits a invisible wall, which probably means he got punched by who knows who. And then like there's a picture of quick little thing that some people are saying is it the Hobgoblin, which some people have said, is it Ned? Is it, Franco's character? Is it the other guy from the Amazing Spider-Mans? Is it just a quick snippet of William Dafoe? But my last take on it, there's probably some other stuff that once we get talking, I'll remember. But my last thing was the last scene where MJ's falling, and you see, I try to pause it and try to catch, but I saw like a blurry face. That person didn't have a mask on, but they jumped to go save her. And my thing in my mind is, like, would they actually kill another character like that off in the same situation like they did Gwen Stacy? So I'm kind of curious, would that be, if they're in it, big if, would that be, people are thinking, well, maybe that's Tom Holland's character. Maybe it's Andrew Garfield's character jumping off to try to get redemption, and maybe either sacrifices himself to save a girl, or he's just doing it to save because he failed in his other movie, in the other multiverse. So that's just kind of my feedback from what I saw. So David, what do you think? What did you think about it? Anything you caught?
I mean, I watched the video. I didn't really much pay attention like details. I was just like, oh, cool. But I mean, yeah, you make some valid points. Maybe they're like the ending where MJ's falling. Maybe speaking like rumors that maybe Andrew Garfield does feel that kind of guilt where he wants to save the MJ of this universe for the regret that he didn't get the chance to save love of his life, Gwen Stacy, in his. So I mean, there are valid points, but as of people ruining the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield thing, like I don't like it, because I just want to watch the movie and go, oh, okay, now I'm more excited to watch it.
Yeah, I kind of wish that I didn't even know.
Down and then tearing bits and pieces of this and that. And it's all fun, and after you watch the movie, then you can go back and watch it again in precise detail. Like for me, when I haven't watched the movie, I see people breaking it down or circling stuff on Twitter and stuff like that. I'm just like, dude, you're all ruining the movie for me, because I really want to watch this and enjoy it, and then go back and look at the details and go, oh, I didn't see that when I first watched it. Now I'm paying attention. And that, to me, kind of ruins it, but that's just how the internet and people are. They kind of like want you to pay attention. And I'm like, man, I'm just a fan of Spider-Man, just like everybody else. I just want to watch the movie and see how well it does, where it's going. And then next time I watch it, pay attention to the details. And then be like, all right, cool. Now I see where the multiverse is coming into the MCU, and where Doctor Strange and all this and the upcoming stuff. I'm just, all right. That's my feeling about it. Overall, I think it's gonna be a good movie.
Yeah,
that's what I got to say to that.
Luke, what's your take?
One thing that I noticed, or how do you say you noticed something that wasn't there, is that there's no additional Spider-Man in the movie. You see all the villains come through, and so I feel like Marvel is showing you, Doc Ock and all that kind of stuff. But what they're not saying is, if the villains are coming through, there's got to be Spider-Man coming through. And my main question is this: how do you keep this movie fresh and exciting? Because I know it's Marvel's, and we all love Marvel, but is it because we like it, we're gonna like it because Marvel put their stamp on it? or are we, gonna actually like this movie based on its own merits?
Yeah.
But how do you show this movie and not have it be kind of a repeat of Spider-Man Miles Morales? With the multiverse and all that kind of stuff coming in. How do you not kind of have overlap? And I saw a lot of the villains and stuff like that, and really Miles Morales focuses on Kingpin, so I get that, but I don't know. I'm excited to see it. I really am. And I loved the original Spider-Man movies, the first trilogy. It was great. Well,
Except
the
for
first
the third one was
the
kind of
first two were pretty good. Yeah, I agree, David. The third one kind of you could have done better.
yeah.
But
Well, I
Andrew
think
Garfield as Spider-Man is probably still my favorite Spider-Man.
Really?
Yes.
He
I thought
himself is a great Spider-Man.
who?
I was saying Andrew Garfield himself is a great Spider-Man.
Yeah. He
I
fit
thought
to me
I thought
he
the second
fit the
story was meh. The second
yeah.
story, not the
Yeah.
first one. The first one's good, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, the shocker was kind of weak, and no offense to Jamie Foxx, who's listening to this podcast, no doubt. But he wasn't my favorite villain.
He looks so much better.
yeah, they kind of gave him a
Yeah,
different look.
they should have done that for the first movie or the first movie he was in.
Yeah, I
But
totally agree.
yeah, Andrew
Well,
Garfield to me was the perfect mix of nerd plus Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire, it was like he was faking. You could, he was more Spider-Man than he was the nerd. And then Tom Holland, you never really hear how good he is at intellectually in the movie. They don't focus on that at all in any of his movies. It's all about the Spider-Man. Like you see brief glimpses of him going on like it's not the Quiz Bowl, but essentially the Quiz Bowl trip. I don't know. I'm excited to see what they bring. Somebody once pointed out that, is the reason that Doctor Strange isn't really seems kind of inept when it comes to manipulating this spell because it's really Loki.
Hmm.
Well, I've seen some things that it
Kinda
could be
interested in
one of the Kroll, was it Krolls?
Skrulls?
Scrolls? Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be one
Skrull.
of them. And that way it's kind of setting up the whole Marvel movie.
Secret Wars.
Yeah, the other thing I saw is it could be, mine went blank. What's the devil character that people,
Mephisto.
yeah,
Manifesto.
from
Yeah.
from WandaVision, they always kept pushing that. So I've seen that too, that it could be, because some people said even in some of the things, one person said, well, Doctor Strange, he's so protective of those things, and he didn't want this to happen in all these other movies. And I'm like, yeah, but he also broke the rules when he first got there too, with reading the dark book and taking the stone and stuff, and he was
Mhm.
told not to do all that.
Manipulating time for the first time.
I think it's Doctor Strange,
It probably is.
and I think it is because of what Randy just said. Because I know it feels like when he comes to him and everything, because we know it's very. I feel like it's going to be very early on in the movie that the whole the spell is
Yeah,
cast and everything,
I
and
feel like that's
you
within
already
20
have that
minutes.
trailer. Yeah, you already have that trailer that was like the Doctor Strange was like, nah, that's a bad idea, and then he's like, but yeah, but we could still do this, and then
Well,
Peter mucks it up, and
I
I don't
know
even think Doctor Strange is as mad about it. I think he's like, well, that's kind of a neat outcome, but then he's like, okay, we actually have to fix this. So
well, one thing I saw, I just came across it on Twitter, and it was like behind the scenes leaked set photos, and there's one of like the three guys standing next to each other in their Spider-Man suits, and it looks legit because Tobey Maguire doesn't look young like some of these trailers that supposedly we've seen. Andrew Garfield, he kind of looks the same, but then there's like a scene where Happy, Aunt May, Tom Holland Spider-Man, and Daredevil himself are sitting in their apartment, because that's supposed to be one thing they talk about, is he's going to be Spider-Man's lawyer to try to get him out of all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then I've heard also that there's a mid-credit scene that has already been filmed where Venom has introduced himself, and that will be the next crossover, possibly Sinister Six thing. You know, I saw today or yesterday that Michael Keaton confirmed that he's shooting stuff starting the very next day for Vulture.
Oh, good.
His Vulture character. So obviously there's
I
something.
thought maybe it was going to be a crossover for Batman.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what Marvel does if
They make movies.
well, I'm
Oh.
saying like I don't know, I don't know how you come back from a movie like this if they truly did not put Andrew or Toby in this movie.
It'd be funny as crap if, so you know how Tom Holland's always been able to give things away.
Mhm.
It'd be funny as crap if like Andrew Garfield has been acting, but acting dumb, where people think that he's telling the truth. So people stay here for 2 hours, like, okay, well, for 30 minutes in, okay, well, they're gonna be here next.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here, the things show up. Okay, they didn't come in. Oh, right, well, man, we've been in the movie for 2 hours. It can't be over yet. Spider-Man's got to show up, and then the movie's over. There goes the credits. Oh, mid-credit scene. They're going to be here mid-credit scene, and then there's Venom, and that's it. And then you walk out of the theater going, where are they at?
Man, that's going to be. I don't condone this, and I would not do this. I would be upset, but I can honestly see riots if they're not in that movie. Like, I'm not joking. Like, because I think people are that crazy, but it's also, it just seems like if you don't, if you got everybody to come back except for some reason you didn't get Andrew and Toby to come back, whew, it's not good. Of course, we're going to find out in a couple weeks. I mean, I think if they're not, the premiere will come out. It should be pretty soon that they'll premiere the movie. And we have now learned that people don't know how to keep their mouths shut after premieres, because right after the Eternals movie came out, like, I'm not joking when I say right after the Eternals movie came out, like after the premiere of the Eternals movie, this guy got on Twitter and that some variety writer and was like, okay, this is who's in the movie. And it was like, no one was expecting that. So,
well, I know,
but they'll tell people. I mean, that will 100% come out. If they're not in the movie, that will be right out from the get-go. Like, that'll be like, okay, they're not in the movie. Y'all prepare yourselves.
yeah. Because I remember when, the Russo brothers were like, trying to, with the whole end game, they were saying, go a week. If you have watched this movie, do not post on social media for a week. And they said, but all you people that haven't watched that movie within a week, after a week's up, it's on you.
Yeah.
And so I wish it'd be like when it comes out, if I don't see it when it comes, like right when it comes out, I'm going to try to, anything that says anything about Spider-Man, I'm going to try to click off, because I ended up seeing a spoiler for a Marvel movie a while back. It didn't say potential spoilers, and I clicked and I saw some things and I was like, well, okay. I didn't like that. So.
But now regarding the trailer, yeah, again, if they're really just pulling the wool over everyone's eyes just for whatever reason, then it's, good job. Stupid, but good job at the same time. But yeah, they've got that thing is, whether they have done it on purpose or just did not do it or did not expect people to go frame by frame on it. There's so many instances of you can tell what's been edited, and that doesn't mean that particularly it is Andrew or Toby. I still think there's a part of me that keeps thinking like maybe we're going to get the Miles Morales Spider-Man as well. That would make a lot of sense in my opinion.
Well, I was curious about the black suit that somebody's wearing.
That's weird.
And well, here's my thing. So in that one scene, he's sitting there and looks like he's got like, some Doctor Strange magic, come off his forearm, but Electro's in the background. So it's like, why are you facing that way if there's a bad guy behind you? Like, what's going on this way? Like, what are you wanting to do?
I have no idea, but there's also a phone connected to his chest as well, and it's got a picture of Ned and MJ on it. And someone actually, I was watching someone that had a theory. It was a theory. They didn't have any concrete evidence to back it up, but it was basically like, what their goal is to get these characters back into their own universes, so that Peter is probably going to be universe hopping himself and not just in his own universe and everything. But
he gets handed a sling ring and taught by Doctor Strange how to
essentially
between realms.
But there is that, if you go watch the Brazil trailer, I don't know if they've edited it yet, but if you go watch the Brazil trailer, you see the Lizard getting punched, and yes, Lizard and Electro are both not looking at Peter Parker in that scene, or the MCU Peter Parker. In the scene where she's just beginning to fall, there is a frame where you can see a hand, like a gloved hand, and it's just the gloved hand in that scene. So it's people thinking that might be one of the Spider-Men. Then there's a scene where Peter is like, it looks like he's jumping down through the rafters or of the stuff that's falling, that MJ's falling off of. And if you look at his face, it doesn't look like, it looks like Andrew and Toby's mask, and not, because they had a very similar mask, and not Peter's mask or Tom Holland's mask. So, but the rest of the body is edited to look like him.
Well, there's one scene where he's saying, "I can't save everybody."
Yeah.
And like the hairstyle looks like Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland's face looks odd.
And we do know, and I think this has to do with Charlie Cox as Daredevil. We do know there is a scene, because it has been confirmed, that, and I think it's that table scene, that that Tom Holland was not sitting at the table with them, or the person that they edited in, the person that was sitting at the table with them, because Tom Holland did not know who it was for the longest time.
Yeah.
Because they were like, "You'll spoil this."
Yeah.
But I think maybe this is going to kick Spider-Man out of the MCU and into the Sonyverse, but I think they'll always be connected and everything. But that being said, there's also a Spider-Man series coming out that's directly tied in with all of this. It's a cartoon series, and it's him before he was before Civil War. So it's his freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be his origin story. It's got to be that. So, but I think this is going to I think this might kick him out of the MCU in that sense. And so, he'll be doing some more solo Spider-Man stuff with the Sinister Six and Venom and things like that. Unless they all just converge and just, they all stay in the same universe, which would be that would be ideal. But there's so much, and it comes out in, I think, less than a month now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, not to change the topic too much, but Randy, what do you think about Moon Knight coming out as a series?
I'm excited for it. Like, I remember some of the stuff when I was growing up, reading about it.
Most of my experience with this actually comes from, it's a game I wish that I still had, is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 for Xbox. That was one of the best games.
Yeah, it was.
But I loved Moon Knight on that game. So a lot of the characters and stuff I learned about were from that game. But I think they've got a great character in Oscar Isaac playing it, taking the lead on that one. I think it's going to be really, really good.
Excited for all the Marvel stuff.
I'm telling you, man, they know how to crush it.
And I will say this. They do know how to crush it. I agree with that. Eternals was a mid movie.
I've kind of wondered if it was going to be honest.
The
'Cause,
story
Like the
is
previews and stuff didn't just have me riveted.
okay. Like it's an okay story. There's one big glaring issue with the story. And if y'all want me to give you spoilers about it, I'll tell you.
Nope.
Okay.
Well,
I don't want to tell you.
And not here tonight.
We'll
But-
save that for another episode.
Yeah, but it's a mid story. The characters though, the characters are good. Like they're well written. They, you understand their motives. You understand where they're coming from for as much as you can. The conversations about what they're dealing with is good. I think the story would have been better if they built upon the conversations more. But they're good characters. Like the characters are all like you root for all of them in one sense or another. But the story is just like meh. It's a very meh story.
Well, I'm excited about from what I've seen from Hawkeye.
Mhm.
The trailer for She-Hulk has me,
Confused beyond y'all reason.
well, kind of.
I have
but
not
I'm,
seen it. I haven't seen the trailer for.
like,
She-Hulk.
I'm excited about that.
We haven't even
Um,
got really a full trailer for it. We just got like a teaser. Like, and I'm
Yeah.
talking like a teaser.
Yeah,
It's like a teaser of the teaser.
but like seeing the pictures and stuff of like the little, posters or whatever, like of Armor Wars, Ironheart, things like that. I'm still excited about those. Seeing about Agatha getting a series, possible Loki's, season 2, the What If series. I like those.
Mhm.
We're getting
Oh.
a Marvel. We're getting a Marvel Zombies.
Yep. Saw that too.
I like the Morbius trailer.
I do
Yeah.
too. And I keep waiting on that one to come out.
Yeah.
I'm wondering. I don't think it will, but like I don't think they intentionally at all would have connected it to like I don't think Spider-Man's going to connect to Morbius, but maybe.
But I don't know, I'm excited.
The biggest question I had about She-Hulk?
If she was green,
No, it's the Hulk.
I know, but if she was green,
No, she's green. But the
Oh.
Hulk is the biggest question I have about She-Hulk. Have y'all seen Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That
Randy,
movie
have
to
you?
me was also
Oh, yeah.
kind of meh.
I actually think that's one of the best Marvel movies.
I may have fallen asleep during part of it though, so that may be why.
But the Hulk is the reason why I'm so confused about She-Hulk. Because if you've seen Shang-Chi, I'm just going to give this away. At the very end, there's a mid-credit scene, if you haven't seen it, and it's got Bruce Banner in it, and it's Bruce Banner, and he's got a arm sling on, so it's very clear that this is after everything. Well, on top of that, there's a Captain Marvel's in that scene too, and then when you see the trailer or the teaser trailer for She-Hulk, there's Hulk, and he's Professor Hulk again, but now he doesn't have an arm sling on. He looks like he's perfectly fine.
so maybe this is before. I think it's before Endgame.
No, it can't be before Endgame. At least I don't think it will be. It doesn't seem like it would be because I've heard that she might have a very small role in Spider-Man.
To me, it seemed like Shang-Chi and the Seven Rings was right after Iron Man, or the Ten Rings was right after Iron Man 3. Like for me, it
Because it
kind of
had-
picks up right after Iron Man 3 comes out.
That would have been a perfect
Or-
place to do it just because of him, because of Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor's.
But
There's
they
a-
bring up the snap. So or
Yeah,
the
that's
blip.
true. Maybe so.
So much Marvel content.
Yeah.
My brain's exploding.
On the other side, we've got a Batman movie coming out, and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Wait, who's this one played by?
The Robert Pattinson Batman.
Buch.
No, it's going to be a
What?
great Batman movie.
You want to talk about football teams getting pulled apart or falling apart because they can't keep their players? That's the DC universe.
Well, yeah, you're right about that.
100%. Because they cannot settle. They cannot settle on a character. They find a great one that everybody loves, like Henry Cavill for Superman. He was the best, in my opinion, best Superman they've had.
Mm-hmm.
He looks the part, he plays the part well, but they can't do that. Or, Gal Gadot is obviously Wonder Woman, and I think that's true in real life too, not just in the movie. They just follow her around with a camera and take pictures. And then, and I know this was unpopular whenever they first announced it, but Ben Affleck killed it as Batman.
Oh, he's a great Batman.
He's my second favorite Batman of all of them.
It's nuts. We're about to have 3 Batman in the span of a year on screen. Not at the same time. 2 of them be on the screen at the same time, and then one of them will be on his own because Keaton is coming back as Batman, and Ben Affleck's Batman is also Ben Affleck's Batman. Yeah, and you got Keaton, you've got Affleck, and then you've got Pattinson. But Pattinson's story is on its own. It's not a part of that main universe. But you would think that they would just build upon that on Pattinson's because they've already got 2 spin-off shows for the Batman movie.
Yeah.
In the wings, they've got a Gotham procedural one. Are you okay?
In the wings. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine.
And then I think they've also said that there's going to be a Penguin show.
Yeah, I saw that.
What is it called? March of the Penguins?
Yeah. And then on top of that, that movie has already established that just within a shot that's been going around that Wonder Woman and Superman both exist in that world because there's a costume party that has someone dressed up as Superman and someone dressed up as Wonder Woman. And like you could tell it's a costume. Like it's not, it's like the guy's wearing like a puffed up type of, costume. So, they exist there. So it's like, why not just build the DC universe off of that if you're gonna, go that far with it already?
Just have some continuity somewhere.
But the only thing they've got going for them is really like they can say, well, it's part of the multiverse, guys. Yay. And you actually have Marvel over here going, well, this is how it all connects. Like this is how it all actually connects with one another.
Yeah.
I think Marvel sat down before they made any movie and was like, all right, let's lay out the entire storyline, beginning to end. And DC just can't do that. They're like, let's make a movie. And they're like, okay. So they make a movie and they're like, oh crap, how do we tie it into the rest of them? Don't worry about it. We'll just start a new movie. So every DC movie is just its new own independent project, whereas the Marvel universe was a long-term, it's like Disney Pixar. It's a long-term Easter egg filled incorporation of one movie straight into another.
Yeah. See, that's one of the arguments I've heard against the DC EU, and I agree with it for the most part, is they should have just began, like they wanted to copy Marvel pretty badly. So that's why they started with like the Man of Steel movie and everything, which I like it. I actually like the Man of Steel movie.
Yeah.
But the thing, what the argument is that they could have just started out with the ensemble movie. Like you didn't need to establish these characters because, you go back before Iron Man 1 ever came out, and you go to some random person who doesn't know anything about comics on the street, and you say, who's Iron Man? And they might honestly think, the song Iron Man. You go, who's Batman? Oh, well, he's the DC superhero, the Batman. People know who they know these characters because Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman, they're established.
Well,
and
that's,
then
that's
necessarily-
partly because they made movies. I mean,
Yeah,
30 years ago or
That's
50
Well, but
that's
then
years
there's-
ago with those characters in them.
There's been Smallville, there's been Lois and Clark. Like there's been numerous things
Flash, Green Arrow.
where we know the origin of Batman. We know the origin of, we said this in a podcast before that, even when they did like the Avengers, there was already movies and we've already been introduced to kind of Hawkeye and Black Widow, but we knew where Iron Man came from. We knew where Hulk came from. We knew where Thor came from, and they put it together. And then DC, I had this conversation with somebody the other day, actually, like we knew Batman and Superman. Everybody kind of knows Wonder Woman, doesn't really probably know where she comes from. But then there's Aquaman, which he looks wimpy in the comics or in the cartoons. And then you hear how wimpy he is on the Big Bang Theory. You ever watch that show? And then like Cyborg, some people are going to think, well, who's that? I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, so we're just going to put these people together and they're going to be a superhero team. It's like, but then like Avengers, we kind of knew who Thanos was through a bunch of Marvel movies. And then it's like this one guy who's supposed to be kind of like the Thanos putting these 3 cubes together that's going to take over the world. And it's like, who's this guy? Like technically over 10-year span, all the Marvel characters have been fighting Thanos, technically. And then it takes two movies, 5 or 6 hours of content for them to defeat him. And it took technically 2 movies and a Snyder cut for them to defeat this other guy and to make him look right and all this other stuff. So it's like, yeah, I feel like it was kind of rushed. I know that they went back and because Avengers was so good and stuff, they were like, oh, well, we need to make DC funny. And some of DC is not funny, it's dark.
Yeah.
Most of DC.
But see, that's the thing. It's like if they had just started off with like some adventure Justice League movie and then broke off all into different movies and then came back for a second one, the chances of them, and if they were good writing, because like sometimes, let's be real, some of the writing's like, I don't know what you're doing there. Even though I've liked all the DC movies so far, to be honest with you. But if they would have, you could have brought them back in the span of like they could have probably established this and been right on par with Marvel. But at the same time, too, it comes down to WB doesn't really ever know what it's doing with anything. Like that's what WB feels like sometimes. Like you have the Harry Potter everything going on, and everyone's like, man, we would really like some kind of Harry Potter series to come out. That'd be pretty cool. So what is their first announced series after like HBO Max comes out? And they're really like, we're gonna go on Harry Potter. It's a quiz show.
Oh yeah.
It's like, really? I mean, it's kind of cool that I guess that you can watch people take a quiz about Harry Potter, but that's what you've decided on is a quiz show. You have all of this unexplored world, and you're like, yeah, let's do a quiz show. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that.
Good for you, WB.
What are your thoughts on Black Adam?
I think The Rock is going to do what Rock does always and create something so phenomenal that we all forget about the rest of the superheroes in the DCEU.
Yeah, I think Rock's gonna go all out. Like I think he's gonna do well with it.
I mean, it's about drive. It's about power. He stays hungry. He devours.
Well, guys, I think that's gonna be it for tonight. I'm looking forward to more Marvel stuff coming around. In case, I hope we can get together a couple more times, possibly before Christmas. If not, definitely soon. Definitely before the first of the year. Talk about some more stuff coming on, maybe maybe end of the football season, video games that are coming out, things like that. So, David, Luke, Ryan, y'all have anything else you want to send us off with?
You getting Vanguard or no? Or is anyone getting Vanguard?
I am.
Is Vanguard a Call of Duty thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Me too, David. I'm probably waiting until Black Friday to pick it up because they should have it discounted.
So far, I have not seen it discounted.
Well, it's not Black Friday yet, Randy.
Well, all the Black Friday sales are going on right now. So
Yeah.
One of these days, I'm actually going to sit down and play video games again.
they,
Me too.
I know several things right now are doing a buy two, get one free or get one half off. And so I added Vanguard to that with 2 games for the kids. So Vanguard is actually in a box somewhere over there that came in today. But everything I've seen, the only the Guardians of the Galaxy game that's supposed to be coming out, that's on sale. Madden's on sale. I think the NBA game's on sale. The Just Dance game's on sale. Everything is showing it's on sale for Black Friday deals except Vanguard. So I was just like, forget it. I'm just going to get it. So, but yeah, I have it. David.
I'm gonna try to get it. I don't know.
No, You're
but
going to get it.
I will try to get it because I think I don't know, like the past several months, I don't know, I just found the no motivation to stream any games. And I want to start streaming a lot next year and try to promote so I can start getting a fan base.
Well, you also said about a year and a half ago that you love streaming with friends.
Yeah.
And so we have not been able to play with, Ross was moving. Ryan said he hasn't had much time to play. I've been super busy with college.
I know everybody has busy schedules, so which I understand. So I'm not gonna bug any of y'all. So and I do have, William, but he plays
he doesn't
different
count.
games. Yeah. Well, he plays different games now, so he doesn't play COD as much, and I don't have Modern Warfare, so I've been trying to play Warzone, but man, their skill-based matchmaking on Warzone is so bad. They're putting me into people with 2+ KDs, and it's so frustrating. So I don't.
Well, it's probably
play
been a month or two since I've played anything Call of Duty. I've either been playing football or golf.
Yeah, I mean, I played Avengers. I played 2K my career. Every now and then I'll play something random, maybe like Ratchet and Clank. I don't know. I just don't my motivation for finding a good game to stream. I got Rogue Company. That came out several years ago. But I don't know. I haven't played it, so I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what can I do to gain attraction.
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll all get back together again. We'll be playing again soon.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Well, like always enjoy the chats. Always enjoy the information that I haven't heard about. Look forward to talking about this again. Talking about what Spider-Man's actually about, for one thing.
Mm-hmm. Wait, when's the next trailer? Next week or the end of this week?
I think there might be a TV spot, but I mean, the movie comes out next month. So
This has been more of the unordinary things where they didn't release a trailer months and months in advance. Like they had that little teaser.
I think that's what Kevin Feige wanted. He wanted
But like I said,
I
it's still
remembered, he
like I
wanted
don't think
no
there's.
trailer. He wanted
Well,
no
like I
trailer
said,
for
there's
people to
enough.
watch
There's
it.
enough footage, and you can't tell me it took you 6 months to think, oh, hey, how about we Photoshop this? Because you Photoshop trailers and take scenes that you have filmed that you don't put in the movie. So I don't know. All right, guys. Well, that is it for our podcast. So be looking forward to Ryan just signed us off in case people that can feel it. He gave you a little salute off the forehead since y'all can't see us. But I always forget that too, Ryan, because I know sometimes I make faces at David and no one knows what I'm doing. It's like watching those or listening to comedians on the radio and everybody starts laughing because they're making some kind of body gesture or something. I'm like, oh man, I wish I knew what they were doing. But all right, guys, we're signing off for another episode. Look forward to us hopefully having some kind of little Christmas special, talk about more upcoming things, games, movies, sports within the next month. And hopefully we'll have Ross back. Maybe we can get a special guest or a sponsorship or something to come on and help us sell their product. So, all right, guys. See you later.
bye.